And just like that, Bitcoin dumps on the market and obviously has triggered another bear market. Guys, I do jest. We are going to be taking a look at the current bull run, see exactly what's going on and what might happen next here with Bitcoin, the market leader. With Bitcoin pulling back and seeing all those altcoins bleed out again, this could be another opportunity to get into some projects that you may have missed out on. As we get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit that like button. Really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said, done, and out of the way, let's jump down to the charts, take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin. Okay guys, so this is just the daily chart. This is Bitcoin paired with USDT. Now, obviously, as I said in that intro, just a bit of a jest, really. You know, this is not a bear market. Just take a look. Right, we had the top of wave 3 here, and obviously when we started to pull back, everyone thought that was the bear market. We then had this little kind of pump to the upside here, again slipping down a tad, and that was the bear market. Again, we pushed right back up, set a new all-time high, slipped back down. That was it. That was a blast off the top. We were done. Bear market, wrong. Set another high just at the top here at 69k. Now we're pulling back down, we're in a bear market again, right? So no, that's not what's happening. Let's pay attention to the bigger picture. Let's not focus in on those smaller moves. We'll get down into the hourly, I'm sure, at some point in this video, but let's really pay attention to the kind of what's going on in the bigger time frame. This is just a daily. As I zoom on out, you can see the progress that Bitcoin is making, and these are little micro movements that shouldn't actually phase you, right? This is basically moves that are made against leveraged positions. If you're using leverage, really seriously guys, take a look at that position and reconsider. Leverage is high risk. It's the reason that you see pullbacks like this is because of over leveraged positions getting liquidated, right? You can see huge pullbacks in Bitcoin market, Ethereum market, and so forth from over leveraged positions. So do really consider that. Yes, you can multiply your gains, but you can also multiply your losses very significantly. Obviously, on this channel, we don't use leverage. We don't talk about leverage, and we don't like it because basically we like to buy those assets, hold them, and when we decide when to sell them. All right, okay. So obviously, big picture's looking pretty good, right? But we are going to just shoot on up into our weekly chart just to kind of give you that big overview once again, right? Because it's an interesting kind of path here for Bitcoin. Specifically on the logarithmic, we don't take we take it off the logarithmic, it just looks daft. So we always keep it on the logarithmic, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to just come over here. We're going to switch from the Binance data source over to Bitstamp's data source. This is because Bitstamp has more information. We can actually analyze all of the bull runs here, 2013, 17, and current, and we can actually dissect this down a little bit more. Now, I've shown this chart a fair few times on the channel now, basically dissecting all the various different timelines for Bitcoin, what's kind of going on. Obviously, we had that first initial peak where everyone was kind of, or a lot of people, I say everyone, but a lot of people were referring to this as the peak for Bitcoin, and that was it. We were done. We were moving down, right? And obviously, you know, we take a look at that and we say, well, a 266-day bull run would be very, very short, right? Specifically, as short as what happened in 2013 with a 315-day bull run, which was not the bull run either. It wasn't in completion. That was not the top. Okay, there was actually two peaks in 2013, right? And that's kind of what we're looking for here in the 2021 bull run, okay? And the actual bull run was a 546-day run rather than the 315 that people thought. So when we started to see a 266-day narrative forming, we knew that wasn't going to be the case. And actually what we're looking for here is about a 318-day bull run approximately. Okay, peak to peak, you know, about 245 days. So this actually does bring us in towards the end of December, but I think we're more than likely going to get extended into January. The reason for this is the peak here was November, the peak in 2017, that was in December. It would be nice to see a peak in January. That would be a very nice, neat way to kind of look at the overview of Bitcoin here. Now, the other thing we always have to look at, and I know I see it in the comments all the time, drink every time I say Gaussian channel, we put the Gaussian channel on. Okay, and the Gaussian channel is really important because this is an indicator of the bull run versus the bear market. When we're in a bull run, we are not closing inside on this weekly chart the Gaussian channel. We close inside the Gaussian channel when we pull down into a bear market. The same thing can be seen not only in 2013, but also in 2017. We pulled back down, in 2018, I should say, when we actually pulled down into here. We bounced off of it, and then we fell inside the Gaussian channel, triggering that bear market low. And obviously, when this turns red, that is the area of optimum value. That's where you buy. You don't buy on the way down up here where you're inside the green. You wait for it to turn red, and that is where you're going to find the most amount of value. Okay, and again, where are we right now? Well, we actually can zoom in on this. and we can pay attention to what's kind of going on right here. We had a couple of moments where we almost closed inside the Gaussian channel, but we didn't, and we were actually tracking quite nicely above this area, right? Quite a good trend line here forming here, and we can kind of just draw that in there, right? We can say that this was an area that absolutely must have held, and we're actually tracking quite badly, and that's still relevant, to a point. But what's really important is to understand the pattern that's forming here. We had that real good run at the beginning of the year, and we were expecting something very similar to start pretty much on January 1st. When we pull back here, happened, basically from May highs, 65k down to 28k, not closing in the channel, and then we're continuing this growth to the upside. Now, as you know, on this channel, if you are familiar, we like to follow Elliott wave, okay? And this is because it kind of resonates incredibly well. So when we actually take a look at our weekly chart here from Bitcoin against USDT on Binance, we have these 5 impulsive waves, right? And these are, tracking very nicely, right? Even these deviations that we've seen here, they're still very nice and neat on track for this 5th wave, okay? But we have to acknowledge that inside the various different timelines, there are different wave counts to be had, okay? And we can acknowledge that actually this is looking pretty interesting right now. We potentially could be looking at a wave 2 coming in, or even a potential wave 4 forming before we get that next leg to the upside overall. So there's a lot kind of going on here with Bitcoin, and I'm obviously not concerned over it. And if we go back into our daily view here, you can get a good look at what's forming here, right? And what we are tracking, if I grab hold of my impulsive moves, we can say that here's wave 1, this is wave 2, this could be your wave 3 high, and this could be your wave 4, and then we'll go up for a wave 5, okay? And that's kind of taking you out to those interestingly high areas. A little short though, it will be short of 100k, so we have to acknowledge that as well, and what follows that will be interesting. Now for wave 4, we cannot, okay, so it's really important right now is we cannot cross down lower than our wave 1 high, okay? And we're very, very close to it. So if we were to drop down lower than this wick high, which would have been 52,920, then it invalidates an impulsive move up. Instead of an impulsive move up, we end up with a corrective move up, an A, a B, and a C move. This is okay because this means that we're actually then looking for a corrective move to the downside. Okay, then that's something that we saw also with this B wave right here, an A, a B, and a C. Okay, so we know that that pattern could also form just here with an A, B, C move, taking us down to some interestingly lowish areas around 48k possibly, before we then get another big ABC move to the upside. Okay, another way to kind of look at it, okay? But we won't know, or we cannot confirm until we're further down the line. The main point of this video, guys, is not to get shaken out when a market potentially has a small pullback, okay? Obviously, we have lots of people in the space who want to see Bitcoin pull back down. These are people who have been shorting the market using leverage, etc. So they always want to see Bitcoin pull back down to significantly lower, and calling every single dip that you see a bear market. And I really wanted to create this video to show you that actually, no, that wasn't a bear market. This isn't a bear market. This whole section here was not a bear market. Okay, if we're ever in doubt, do the zoom out, because it's only when you zoom out can you actually see we're in a bull run, right? And I know a lot of people are new to the space and they haven't been a part of the bull run, or even potentially been a part of a bear market before. You'll know when it's a bear market because the trends are very, very different. It's very hard to get any upward swing whatsoever. In fact, you'll end up with a short upswing and a massive downswing, and it repeats itself over and over and over again. Now, everything does bounce. It doesn't move down in straight lines. So in a bear market, you end up in a situation where you'll have an A down like this, a small B up, and then a wave down. Okay, so we bounce up to a wave B, and then we pull that down lower. So you can catch that B if you need to, but you're not going to be moving up like this, right? We don't have an ABC move like this into the upside. So they're very, very different in their approaches, but they don't move in straight lines, but you can definitely tell a bear market from a bull run. Now, with all that being said, when you jump down into that real small time frame, which you'll find a lot of influencers looking at, it's really obvious to see that, yes, that looks quite bearish when you take a look at it like this, right? This is what you'd be seeing, but on a much larger scale, right? You see this impulsive move that we've been monitoring to the downside. We saw us trade sideways. We saw us pull back. And look at this, mirroring now this this exact motion right here. We actually have what's being formed as a head and shoulders pattern. I actually drew this out the other day, and this is an unusual kind of motion that we've seen. The stock stochastics right in the floor right now, taking us right down into this low area that I had scoped out. This was the area of a gap that we left behind previously. Okay, and we can see that we were coming right back down into this low area. This is where I had that fifth wave already, and we can see that we're coming right back down. So all that work that's happened in the last few days has completely been wiped out and brought us right the way back down to the starting position. We are, of course, oversold heavily, so those liquidations are going to account for at least making sure that we reset our positioning and allows us to continue that growth to the upside. Obviously, what we're actually going to be witnessing here is going to be another ABC move to the upside. Okay, and what this is going to lead to is basically more people who were basically short in the market can now go long, short, long, and will be able to continuously milk retail investors who just do not know what they're doing. Okay, and it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Ultimately, everything's looking pretty good and interesting for the longer term pictures. But if you do actually focus in on that hourly view or anything smaller than the hourly, it's not going to be very pretty. It's going to be showing you a lot of different patterns, lots of different scenarios, lots of different things kind of going on that can add to confusion. So right now, when the markets are incredibly volatile like this, it's important that you actually zoom out, pay attention to the bigger trend. The bigger trend is up, not down. And it's important that we do acknowledge that. I'm not going to go on and on in this video about the ins and the outs of what's going on with this hourly view. I think that is, not really going to be useful to many people in the space. Instead, you want to be focusing in on that bigger picture. So I'll zoom back out into that daily views. You can get an idea as to how things have actually been forming. We are actually looking very good. We're in a very similar pattern here than what we had seen with the A and the B wave we've seen before we hit C. Now we're pulling back down. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out, but everything's actually looking pretty good for that continued growth to the upside overall for Bitcoin. So good times do lie ahead. I do expect, like I said, all-time highs to happen. Whether they happen in December or January is anyone's guess. No one's really going to get that timing right. It is going to be incredibly difficult to do. But overall, the market is actually looking pretty good. We just need to kind of get those leverage positions handled, and hopefully we'll see a bit of a big pump in the market come the new year. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe? Tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.